Right now, as you're watching this video, the United States government is borrowing about $6 million, not per day, not per hour, per minute. By the time this video ends, we'll have added another 50 million to a number so large, most people can't even comprehend it. $36 trillion. And almost nobody's talking about what this actually means for you. So let's start simple. What actually is the US debt? Think of it like a credit card, except it's the world's largest credit card, and it never gets paid off. When the government spends more than it brings in through taxes, it borrows the difference by selling treasury bonds. People, countries, pension funds, they buy these bonds, and the government promises to pay them back with interest. $36 trillion is impossible to visualize. So let me put it this way. If you spent a dollar every single second, it would take you over 1 million years to spend 36 trillion. The entire US economy produces about 28 trillion a year. We owe more than we make. Here's where it gets interesting. 21% of that debt, we owe it to ourselves. Social Security, Medicare, government pension funds, another 30%. Foreign countries, Japan owns over 1 trillion. China owns about 800 billion. The rest? Banks, investment funds, regular investors. But owing money isn't automatically bad. Your mortgage is debt. Your car loan is debt. The question is whether you can afford it and what you're getting for it. So, can America afford it? Let's talk about why this number keeps getting bigger. We spend way more than we take in. In 2024, the federal government spent around $6.8 trillion. It brought in about $4.9 trillion in taxes. That's a $2 trillion gap every single year. Where does it go? Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and defense eat up 2/3 of the budget, and most of that spending is on autopilot. If you're eligible for Social Security, you get the check. The population's aging. Healthcare costs keep rising, so these programs cost more every year. Defense, about $800 billion a year, more than the next 10 countries combined. But here's what really matters: the interest payments. In 2024, we paid over $800 billion just in interest. That's more than we spent on Medicaid, more than kids' education, food stamps, and veterans' benefits combined. We're paying interest on money already spent, on wars already fought, on programs from decades ago, and it's accelerating. In 2020, interest payments were around $300 billion. They've nearly tripled in 4 years. Why? Interest rates went up and we keep borrowing more. Here's the trap. We're borrowing money to pay the interest on money we already borrowed. It's like making the minimum payment on your credit card by taking out another credit card. Politicians say they'll fix it. Republicans say cut spending. Democrats say tax the rich, but nobody actually does it. Cutting Social Security. Political suicide, raising taxes. Political suicide, cutting defense. Good luck. So both parties just keep spending, keep borrowing, and keep kicking the can down the road. So who's really paying for all this? The obvious answer is taxpayers, but it's more complicated. When the government borrows trillions, it's soaking up money that could have gone somewhere else, maybe invested in a new business, or loaned to someone buying a house. Economists call this crowding out. Then there's inflation. When you borrow and spend massive amounts, you're pumping cash into the economy, more money chasing the same goods. Remember 2021, 2022? Inflation hit 9%. That's a hidden tax. Your paycheck stayed the same, but everything got more expensive. Rent, groceries, gas. That's partially because we printed and spent trillions during COVID. But here's who really gets hit. Young people. If you're in your 20s or 30s, you're inheriting this debt. Higher taxes, fewer benefits, or both. The boomers got decades of government spending, new highways, cheap college, social programs. Millennials and Gen Z, you're getting the bill. And it's not just the money, it's what we're not doing. Every dollar spent on interest is a dollar not spent on fixing roads, funding research, upgrading the power grid. We're literally paying for the past instead of building for tomorrow. Future generations? Kids who aren't even born yet are already on the hook for trillions. They'll inherit a government that's financially strapped, with less flexibility to respond to crises. So, what actually happens next? Honestly, nobody knows for sure, and that's terrifying. Some economists say we're fine. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. Everyone wants our bonds. We can keep borrowing because everyone believes we'll pay it back. As long as confidence holds, we can kick the can forever. Others say we're heading for a crisis. Maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. History's full of countries that borrowed too much. Argentina, Greece, Britain. When confidence breaks, it breaks fast. Interest rates spike. Borrowing becomes impossible. And suddenly, you're forced to make brutal cuts. Here's the scary scenario. What if countries stop buying our bonds? Interest rates would explode. The government would have to cut spending dramatically or default. Either option would crater the economy. Stock market crash, retirement accounts wiped out, unemployment skyrocketing. But there's a middle scenario, probably the most likely. We just slowly decline. Interest payments eat up more of the budget. We can't invest in new things. Our infrastructure crumbles. Our economy grows slower than China's, than India's. We stay rich compared to most of the world, but we stop being the dominant superpower. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. The wild card, a major crisis, another pandemic, a war, a financial crash. When COVID hit, we added 5 trillion in 2 years because we had to. But what if another crisis hits and we're already maxed out? What if we don't have the financial firepower to respond? Here's the thing they don't want you to think about. This isn't a problem with a solution that doesn't hurt. Every fix requires pain. Cut spending, people lose benefits. Raise taxes, economic growth slows. Default on the debt, complete catastrophe. So we do nothing. Democrats and Republicans point fingers at each other, but they both keep spending because fixing this requires political courage that nobody has. The debt clock keeps spinning, $6 million a minute, and we're all just watching it happen. The question isn't if something's going to break. The question is when, and who's going to be holding the bag when it does. Maybe it's you.